Hey, how's it going, guys? TND coming back at you. It pains me to say this as a Warlock main myself, but I think there's no question that the class that saw the biggest buffs throughout the past year of Subclass 3.0 reworks has to be our guys, the Titans. Everyone's favorite punchy boys started off the year getting an incredible Void kit, allowing them to stack overshields and volatile with ease. They then followed that up with their Solar kit in Season of the Classy Restoration, where the Lordly Splendor helm created one of the most unkillable Guardian builds we've ever seen in the game. And unkillable is no hyperbole. You could literally stand in a crowd of enemies and you weren't dying until you took that helmet off. But for the Titans, it seems like they saved the best for last, as their new Arc 3.0 subclass rework combined the best aspects of the previous subclass trees and folded them all together into a jolting killing machine, able to clear entire rooms of adds in seconds and then immediately headbutt bosses to death at the speed of a flying missile. But Season of the Seraph has taken this already incredible build and given it some of that Barry Bonds happy juice, turning this loadout into what I believe is to be the no questions asked best loadout in the entire game in terms of pure destruction. This build will upgrade your little crayon eaters into their final form, into true Yankee Candle connoisseurs. And make sure you guys stick around till the very end of the video, because I have a very simple but important piece of tech that all Titan players need to be implementing when using this build as their go-to. With that being said, let's get into it. Now listen, I am well aware that this is probably not the first time you've seen a Storm Titan build before, so let's quickly go over the basics. Heart of Inmost Light is a Forsaken exotic that centers all around the use of your Guardian's three primary abilities. Its exotic trait Overflowing Light states that using an ability empowers the other two abilities. Empowered meaning they have faster ability regen times, as well as making your melees and grenades hit harder. This exotic goes together with the current ability spam focused PVE sandbox like peanut butter and banana sandwiches. And I'm not talking about that smooth crap, by the way. I'm a chunky guy at heart. I ain't trying to eat anything that reminds me of my smooth brain, don't at me. The second major piece of this puzzle is the combination of the classic Titan storm grenades with Touch of Thunder, a new aspect that buffs the effects of various grenades. For storm grenades, it reads as follows. After detonation, they now create a roaming thundercloud that tracks nearby targets and fires bolts of lightning at foes beneath it. Which sounds metal as fuck, not gonna lie. And somehow, they're even better than they sound, as these things not only do massive amounts of burst DPS on contacts, but those thunderclouds do not mess around, chasing down nearby enemies like your landlord chasing you down for that rent money on the first of the month.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
And in a vacuum, just these aspects alone, it's an amazing build. These grenades charge super fast from all the enhanced abilities granted from Heart of Inmost Light, and their ad clearing potential and sheer damage output is something not matched by any other ability currently in D2. So how do we make this guy even better? Let's start with our subclass. Thunder Crash is an incredible burst damage super that frankly was held back with its previous subclass tree. Next, we want the new Thruster ability, both for the movement tech it provides as well as the 8-second slower cooldown than our Barricade. Remember, this is an ability spam build, so 8 seconds makes a huge difference here. Like I said, not a Titan main, so anything other than strafe lift, and I'm literally gonna be falling to my death every 5 seconds. Next is another new ability, the Thunderclap melee. Just like our class ability, this big boy punch can go super fast or get charged up all the way to max if you're trying to deal even more pain to a larger area. Our second aspect is going to be Knockout. Critically wounding a target or breaking its shield infuses your melee attacks with arc energy and increases your melee range and damage for a short time. Now, this aspect honestly doesn't make a huge difference in PVE at least, but it gives us 2 fragment slots instead of just the 1 from Juggernaut, so this is pretty easy call in my opinion. Speaking of fragments, we get 4 to work with here, starting with Spark of Magnitude, which gives our storm grenades even more time out on the playing field to rain hell down on our enemies. Next is Spark of Recharge. While critically wounded, your melee and grenade energy recharge more quickly. I'm gonna be real with you, this build makes you into a bit of a glass cannon, so getting a free storm grenade when you're in a pinch can really make all the difference sometimes. Spark of Resistance is an added 10% damage resist while surrounded, which isn't much, but certainly better than nothing. And finally, Spark of Shock, which allows our storm grenades to jolt targets on impact. Jolt is basically like an arc version of volatile rounds, granting your arc weapons the ability to overcharge targets, causing them to spawn chain lightning to nearby enemies. Compounded with the effects of our grenades, and it basically lets you throw one way and then turn and shoot the complete other way, because chances are nothing's still alive over there. Before we get into our weapons, let me know, what was your favorite Titan build from this past year of D2? Like I said, I am a Warlock main, but even still, I played a ton of Titan this year due to how OP these guys are in PVE. Make sure to hit that subscribe button while you're down there too. It helps the channel reach more Guardians just like yourself. I feel like we need to talk about weapons first, because make no mistake, your main source of pain in this build is the storm grenades, but there is more still we can do here. Starting with my favorite blinding GL, the Pardon Our Dust from Dares of Eternity. This guy made it into my top 10 weapons to craft before Lightfall list due to its pure utility in endgame content. Blinding grenades help lock down annoying enemies, allowing you to shoot either the boss or the data pads, or maybe just to help you run away. It's incredibly useful, especially as a hot swap weapon with auto-loading holster. This is where things get a little juicy, as the reprised Ikelos SMG needs no introduction here. Again, if you don't have this pattern unlocked yet, please definitely go watch my farming guide. It's so freaking good, as Feeding Frenzy and Volt Shot will clear out ads so fast you'll have a hard time figuring out which form of punishment to dish out between it and your storm nades. This also gives your primary gun the ability to jolt targets to go along with your grenades. It's an absolute perfect fit for this build. Finally, a bit of a curveball in our heavy slot, the Grand Overture Exotic Arc Machine Gun. This guy got a 50% buff to its missile damage this season, meaning that it's able to dish out an insane amount of DPS when it hits times 20 stack. If you saw my Atrax farm video, then you know that this weapon paired with Thunder Crash results in basically the highest burst damage possible right now. Simply get some hits with it up to times 20, then feel free to blow that load all over those poor aliens once it's all filled up. For stats, you want max resilience and discipline, with the rest going into recov. Make sure to check out both my high stat armor farm and 100 build vids to help you out even more here. On our helmet, we have the dynamic duo of Ashes to Assets and Harmonic Siphon to help us get our super back as fast as possible, as well as Elemental Ordnance to give us an arc well every time we get a grenade kill. Spoilers, that will be happening quite often. On our arms, we have Bolstering Detonation to give us class ability regen when we cause damage with our grenade, as well as a Global Reach mod because, oh yeah, this build's got Warmind cells too. On our chest, we have Font of Might to give us that 25% damage buff when picking up a well. On our legs, we have a couple mods to give us health and grenade energy on orb pickup, as well as Bountiful Wells, so our Arc Elemental Well always has a little buddy with them when you get a grenade kill. Finally, a bit of a twist in our class item, as we have 2 bomber mods for grenade energy when popping thruster, as well as Fireteam Medic, a mod that gives a burst heal to you and your teammates when you destroy a Warmind cell. I always love me some burst healing, and I gotta say, this mod helps out a lot along the edges a bit to help bring this whole build together. Don't sleep on Warmind cells, even in endgame content, I'm telling you. And yes, this build does in fact use 0 seasonal artifact mods, so this loadout will be good to go for that day 1 legendary campaign, as well as the new raid coming next season. The gameplay loop here is pretty simple. You see these 3 guys right here? If they're glowing, make them not glow. Your job here is to be an ability spam factory. You have a fever, and the only prescription is more storm nades. Ikelos and your other guns pair seamlessly into what I think is already an S-tier exotic ability combo, making your Titans into the ultimate enemy slaying weapon. It's almost too good. Oh no, what am I saying? Don't nerf it, Bungie! Oh, and by the way, real quick, that piece of tech I was talking about earlier, you know how usually boss fights in this game will have a bit of a rest period right before the damage starts? Yeah, when that pause happens, don't sit around, go into your character's menu and swap your Heart of Inmost Light over to your Curse of the Falling Star. Hit the guy with Thunder Crash and then swap back, that easy. Do this every single boss phase. So there it is, my take on the lauded Storm Grenade Titan build. Let me know your thoughts in the comments and what changes you might have to this build. There's a dim link in the description of this video so you can try it out for yourself, just in time for those Grandmaster Nightfalls next week. Make sure you subscribe to my channel to catch all of my latest Destiny 2 content, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Happy hunting, Guardians.